following contains adult language and poorly impersonated celebrity voices and parodies. Listener discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of The Devil You Know. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. Rather than our usual, interviews with a guest, we're going to bring a couple of our favorite friends and former guests on and talk about villains.
Villains.
It's a discussion, yeah.
Yes.
A little something interesting, something we should all relate with one way or another.
Adam, who do we have with us today?
We have Magister Matt Paradise and Magister David Harris.
Nice.
Welcome
Nice.
to the show. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hold on.
First person who posts a comment about, oh, look, Dorian appears twice or some stupid shit like that is getting a shank in the knee.
Yeah. We're going to kick the shit out of you.
That old gag.
Yeah. So, Dorian, what is it about villains? That sparks
Obviously,
your interest?
we're a group of people who've taken on a moniker of someone who most of our country, at least, has been raised to believe is the ultimate villain. Some of us sometimes get portrayed as a villain, even by members of our own meta tribe. Wink. And it's just an interesting concept because when I think about some of my favorite stories, or when it comes to history versus fiction, one of my all-time favorite characters is Darth Vader, one of the ultimate villains, but we don't really think of him as the ultimate villain. We just think of him as a badass. And, he's become the symbol of this whole Star Wars saga. But really, he killed children in one of the movies, he's a pretty terrible guy, yet we all kind of love him. And it just kind of made me think of the different aspects of what it is about villains that I guess what is it that makes a villain? Because it seems to me that it's basically decided by a majority. Because no villain in real life, people who we see as villains, they don't think of themselves as villains. Usually, if you think about like an evil dictator, I'm pretty sure Hitler didn't think I'm so evil. He thought he was doing some good, and everyone thinks that, I think, in some way. So the different topics here are, what makes a villain, as far as how we feel about taking on the moniker of, Satan as, even though we don't see it as a villain, we tend to get on people's cases. Why didn't you study what this is actually about? When, really we knew going in. We knew.
So you're saying we're like Hitler?
A little bit.
Not at all. But I do find this sort of interesting when we take
Maybe
on.
Himmler.
Yeah.
Himmler, not Hitler.
Right.
What makes
Don't
you
go
think
so
I'm
extreme.
charming? Yeah.
But
He was into the occult, right? Himmler?
Yeah.
Actually,
Exactly.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I do find it really interesting, though, if you think about this. When we get upset about people who maybe don't understand what our religion is about. They haven't taken the time to read it. And we're like, come on, haven't you figured this out by now? But I thought about this. I thought about what if there was a guy out there who he wanted to formulate a philosophy in which the best way to get everything you want in your life is to be very outspoken and speak sternly and move your fingers a lot and speak loudly. And in order to have the perfect symbol for his philosophy, he decided to call it Hitlerism. Now, he has no use for the Nazi propaganda at all, for the way of Nazi party, and he doesn't care for that. He thinks it's ridiculous, but he thinks that Hitler was great at giving speeches. So he decides
talking
to call
about
his
Obama?
religion. No,
He embraces the aesthetic.
So exactly now, he would be kind of stupid to if he got upset when people go, "So you're a fucking Nazi?" And he would go, "Of course I'm not a Nazi. Maybe you should try reading, the Hitler Bible, Mein Kampf." Sorry, but eventually, and then as time would go on, eventually there'd be some kind of pseudo Hitlerism that would pop up that would say, "Oh, the Church of Hitler's been dead for years. We're the new Hitlerism," when actually all they do is build houses for homeless Jews. So that's the idea though is that
I get where you're going.
We can't be shocked. We can't be shocked, obviously, when people initially assume that we're villains, that we're, worshiping at least what they call the ultimate villain, which doesn't even make sense if you actually read the Bible. God murders children and wipes out the world and condones rape, and Satan tries to talk Jesus into turning rocks into bread. That's the ultimate villain.
I can admit that in my earlier days when I was a teenager, I probably fell into that. How dare you put me here and there? I got all full of that, but you get over it. I did. I don't know about other people.
Of course. Yeah.
Eventually you stop caring about shitheads on the internet, and you just go on with your life, and you actually practice Satanism. It's like, oh, why am I even bothering with this?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, and show's over. Thank you.
Done it myself. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Good hustle, everybody. You made that happen.
Well, let's get this out there. Look, I know, I don't know, but I'm assuming that everyone has a favorite villain, maybe a couple up there on the top or something that they might identify with. Let's go down the list, man. Adam, who's your favorite?
Oh, Cobra Kai. Kid.
Sweep the leg.
Cobra Kai. Get him a body bag, yeah!
Yeah, those guys are cool. I'd hang out with them. They had those skeleton suits. They had the BMX bikes. They had the aesthetic. That's one thing that's always attracted me to the dark side is the aesthetic. Every villain has a great aesthetic, and
even Captain Hook.
Of course.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Darth Vader is a great villain. Manson, it's pop culture, and I think it's interesting. The whole story behind.
But now
that.
there's a big difference between I can't speak for, I guess, on Manson's behalf, but even when you look at Star Wars, granted, these people thought that they were making the universe better, but they still use this term dark side. So they still were trying to. They never said evil, of course, and you could be argued that the dark side isn't necessarily evil, but
dark could be hidden.
But they still. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they kind of do flaunt that enough, and of course, the sinister laughs that the Emperor has and stuff like that. Again, they're not saying, it's not like Skeletor.
Are you saying that the Emperor is bad optics? Is that what we're saying?
It's not to the extent of Skeletor saying that they love evil or anything like that, but there's still this kind of leaning that way. Whereas again in real life, if there was somebody at all Vader-like that was trying to take over the world, it wouldn't be like he's my hero, But then again, when you say Manson, you're not really saying that he's your favorite villain, but you're not saying that you appreciate him in any way necessarily.
No. I like the story behind the whole deal and the different takes on what actually could have happened. It's interesting how society calls him the most notorious serial killer when he didn't really ever get convicted of killing anybody.
Exactly.
If I tell you to go kill somebody and you do it, is it my fault, really? I mean, I disagree with that.
But you told me to do it, dude.
Right. Where's the sense of personal responsibility?
Yeah. A lot of villains, what I'm seeing or noticing, that they end up becoming the scapegoat, really, for everybody's problems. They blame them for everything. They're always carrying the whole world on their shoulders in respect to everything that's bad and everything that's considered evil.
Going back to Charlie, he said
like
all over the place.
Our favorite villain, Satan. Satan gets blamed for the world's problems.
Or Ozzy.
Because of the things that were said,
Ozzy,
there's always a little kernel of truth. The things that a villain says, which sticks in the craw of the populace at large and the hero.
And the truth hurts, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting thing because, when you look at, especially if you look at a really well done version of the devil in the movies, whoever is playing Satan, or like for example, Al Pacino when he portrays him in
John Milton, Devil's Advocate.
Devil's Advocate, yeah. He never he offers suggestions. He says, hey, here's choices. He never tries to really push somebody into doing something. He just says, here it is if you want it. He doesn't really do the bad guy thing, but this is how the actual the I guess Christian fictional devil is portrayed as somebody who really does the same thing, but Christians tend to look at it as he's evil, even for offering that. Just like the fruit from the tree, Nobody made Eve eat it. It was just a suggestion. Hey, if you want it, it's there.
Plus, it looks succulent. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
But hey-
ultimately leads to the fact that knowledge from the get-go, before she even ate the apple, just the knowledge that the apple was there was the sin.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, even the whole not understanding that they were naked until they ate that. They actually gained knowledge through their sin. So
Weird. But you brought up the whole Satan as a villain thing, and I made a list of, I'm sure there's more, but I have a list of a few that, people have portrayed the devil, Satan, or Lucifer in movies and shows and things like that. I'm going to go down this list here, and if I'll just read them off and stuff, and if you guys have anything to say
Probably
about
gonna take
them.
one of mine, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay, sorry. But I'm sure we'll repeat a lot. But, I'll just mention it, and if you guys have anything to say, pipe in, and we'll just continue down the list. I've got Darkness in the movie Legend by Tim Curry. Is that
There
the
it
one?
is.
Boom, right?
Yeah.
My wife, it's Heather's favorite Satan.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
of course. You're all animals, my lady.
yes. All animals, my lady. Yes, I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so Dorian mentioned John Milton, played by Al Pacino in Devil's Advocate, of course. I mean, like he said, here's the choice, it's up
gave
to
a
you.
great speech at the end
Yeah.
too.
You had free will. Oh, yeah, about God.
And that's actually my favorite Satan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just a combination of a slick talking, sophisticated yet down in the dirt and willing to do the work to get what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a devil that is practicing Satanism.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go down. Louis Cypher in Angel Heart, played by Robert De Niro. You remember that one with Mickey
Oh
Rourke?
yeah. Nice.
I'm going to go in the minority because I know I'm not a fan of this movie.
I just remember the character. I don't remember being a fan of the movie, but
That's where those cool rings came
movie.
from, where they're like $4,000 or some crap, or something for these rings. Crazy.
Yeah,
the
I
star on
didn't
it.
think, and I don't think De Niro was in the movie enough to have given the character much.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was the role was very limited.
Yeah, it was more.
He's
about Mickey
especially
Rourke.
at the end. The end is his,
Yeah,
pretty much.
right.
Yeah. Well, here's another one at the end. Lucifer in the movie Constantine, played by Peter Stormare.
Don't remember it.
He had the white suit on, but the dirty feet. He came up and he took the stuff out of Keanu Reeves' lungs when he was on his way to heaven.
Right, yeah,
Okay. What about Damien Thorne in The Omen by Sam
yeah.
Neill?
Yeah.
I'm wearing the shirt.
Oh, look at that! Look at that. Great.
And you have
villain.
3 different portrayals of him. You have him as a child, you have him as an
Yes.
adolescent, you have him as an adult.
Of course,
Three
I'm
very
talking-
different
the
portrayals.
yeah, they were
because
always
kids
different.
are just creepy.
Yeah, especially that one. I mean, that was.
I like Omen 2 probably the best because he has that transition. He has that.
He's a teenager and
discovery.
he's coming into his own.
All of
Yeah,
that, of course.
yeah. Of course, maybe let's see here. Satan was played by Rosalinda Salentano, I guess, in The Passion of the Christ, where they had the woman in the hoodie. I don't know if you saw that.
And I never saw
remember.
it.
Okay, the devil, played by Gabriel Byrne in End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that one?
yeah.
Didn't see.
I remember that one.
Gabriel
Yeah.
Byrne. Oh, okay. This is a classic. Come on, guys. The devil, played by Jack Nicholson, The Witches of the Eastwick.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Come on, he was awesome.
Yeah.
He reminded me of me. It was
Probably
amazing.
my number 2. That's probably my number 2.
Yeah. And we can all relate with that one. Come on. How about this one? She falls under. I have another category of sexy villains, but she falls under this one too. With playing the devil, Emmanuel Segner in Ninth Gate.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
girl
Oh,
who kicked the little
yeah.
ass and
Yep.
and then had sex with him.
Yeah,
Nice.
great movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
He's like, oh, yeah.
I just remember the end of that movie being so anticlimactic. There was so much buildup, and it was just he walked into a building.
You know what you should do, because you're into the porn thing?
Just
Make
use your
that final
imagination.
scene. Make that.
I should film that ending.
Make it climactic. Yeah.
Well,
climactic.
he enters hell, right? So like you should like just make it like all naked dudes when he walks in there.
Oh, it's eyes wide
And
open.
immediately you're taking away my work and giving it to a dean.
The devil, played by Clay Tanner in Rosemary's Baby. Very short little thing, but again, the devil character.
Yep.
Here's another good one. Satan, played by Viggo Mortensen in The Prophecy.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It'll be
Definitely.
better than Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, not a big enough role to really give any meat to the character.
They have you afraid of him throughout the movie, and then here's a little piece of him, with his little minion.
I think it's better though to have a little than too much.
Yeah.
Like
Keep the mystery.
Kind of leave them wanting more is a good philosophy. Yeah.
Much more. Here's another classic, The Devil, played by Ernest Borgnine in The Devil's Reign.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Another sexy devil here at the same time, Elizabeth Hurley in Bedazzled. You guys saw that, right? Come on. That's a Netflix and chill movie, right?
It's terrible.
Yeah, but it's Elizabeth Hurley, so I don't.
It's Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah.
I just turned the volume down. Whatever, I don't care.
Speaking of terrible, which is kind of funny though, Satan, played by Harvey Keitel in Little Nicky. Weak, right? I got this is another classic though. The Devil, played by George Burns in Oh God, You Devil.
Yes.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember this one? The movie Two of a Kind with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Oliver Reed played the devil, tempting them and trying to mess things up.
Nope.
Go see that tonight. It's amazing. Anton LaVey played as the devil in Kenneth Anger's Invocation of My Demon Brother. Counts. It counts.
With a whole lot of gay bikers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That was for you.
yeah. Nice, thank you. And finally, the last one on my list I got here is the devil in The Exorcist, played by Linda Blair with the voice of Mercedes McCambridge, who also did that Metallica song.
God. You're forgetting one of my favorite ones.
No, I didn't. I actually saved it for you to mention. Go ahead, Dorian. What is it?
The devil, portrayed by Dave Grohl in The Pick of Destiny, motherfucker.
Oh man, how did I forget that one?
What about Sammy Kerr in Trick or Treat? Sammy Kerr played a good villain.
Yeah.
That was a classic
You at the
movie.
midnight.
Yeah.
Fox chosen warriors shall rule the apocalypse.
We'll bring them down. I love that fucking movie.
Bill
Great
Cosby played the devil, and I'm damned if I can remember the name of the movie. I'm
What?
looking it up real quick.
I remember that vaguely.
Bill
Puddin'.
Cosby.
What are you talking about?
I'm
Bill Cosby?
I'm looking up the name. Give me a second.
Yeah, I see the poster. I can't remember the name.
Puddin'.
The Devil and Max Devlin.
Oh,
That's it.
That's right.
And I enjoyed his portrayal of the devil in that.
yeah.
I recall watching that as a little kid.
Don't
Yeah.
recall.
Or what about Moloch in Chips? Remember Chips? On TV? Yeah.
I know the clip you're talking about.
That was my introduction to Satanism as a very young child.
And metal.
Yeah, oh yeah. My mom's like, turn that off now.
Turn that off. It's the devil.
Well, what about Kiss? I mean, Knights in Satan's Service. That's what I heard when I was a kid, So
That's what made me want to listen to him.
Well, they're Jews, so that's kind of evil,
Wait,
right?
that rumor's not true. That's
Same
not what
difference,
that
right.
stands for.
Yeah.
I've been lied to all these years.
What'd you think it was? Keep it simple, stupid? Which they did,
Nice.
and it was
Yes.
great. Most of the
Also
best
true.
songs in the world are fucking simple. Yeah. Look at AC/DC. Anyway,
That's a totally different story.
yeah.
Different show.
I wrote some sexy villains, man, mostly from movies, I guess. Catwoman. Come on
That
now.
was the first one that came to mind for me. Catwoman.
Hello. Meow. And I don't know her name, the character's name, but the blue chick in X-Men. Hello.
Oh,
Sharon Stone, Basic Instinct.
Mystique.
Mystique, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Mystique.
Alex
Rebecca Romaine.
Forrest, the character Alex Forrest in Fatal Attraction, played by Glenn Close. What a nutbag. Huh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Can you call in 2018? Can we call them mentally disturbed villains? Is that
Yes.
politically correct?
On this show, you can.
We don't do the politically correct thing.
Yeah.
Fucking nutbags.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they are.
They ruin society.
Well, that's part of I guess kind of what brought this all up is I mean how do I put this safely here?
You don't.
Maybe
Just say
maybe
it.
some social justice warriors who felt like attacking their own kind.
Matt, how do you feel about social justice warriors?
Oh, they're great. They're fantastic.
They
And a
provide.
source of entertainment
Yeah, this was
and material.
Tune into the accusation party if you really want to know how he feels.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of I guess what's almost defining villains these days is I mean really that is what defines a villain. Unfortunately, is what the majority of people decide. Majority of people decide that you're a villain. That's
Yeah.
the way you get labeled that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to it's not hard for any Satanist to be labeled that, but yeah, I mean for social justice warriors these days to take out any one thing that somebody says and define them as that and say, oh, you made a black joke. You are obviously a racist against all black people, and or whatever the case is. I can't even say.
Well, new categories are coming up all the time. I mean, pretty soon
Exactly, and
everyone's
if you
gonna be
refuse to
guilty of
keep up with it,
everything.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
And
Eventually,
that's
it's all
frustrating.
going to collapse in on itself. And it's already starting
That.
to. You're starting
Yeah.
to see these groups turn on each other.
Mhm.
There's that old bar joke about the two guys who encounter each other on the bridge, and they're talking about religion, and the names of their religion are identical until you get to a year, and then one of them throws the other one off the bridge. It's turning into that shit.
That's exactly the issue, and I don't know what that's going to turn into. Obviously, for us, it's not going to really have any effect at all. But there's always going to be groups of people that are going to see us as villains, one way or another. Especially if you just don't feel like conforming. Like I have no problem referring to you as a he or a she or whatever when it's apparent. If I have to make up a new pronoun for you when I just met you and I don't know shit about you, fuck you. I don't care enough to do that. If you look like a he, I'm going to say he, and if you get offended by that, you should address differently. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but
That sounds very
Sorry, not
villainy.
sorry.
It's very villainy about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so that seems to be nowadays what is really defining villains. Obviously, I mean, this is 5 villains right here. We're white males. we're villains to a lot of people. This group right here, and not by doing anything, just by being what we are. So
Just born. Yeah, we're born villains.
It's great. I love it.
I've found great solace in ceasing to pay attention to it all.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't, once you realize that it doesn't affect you, it all becomes background noise. All of the bullshit you see on the internet, all of the infighting, whether it's within our own organization or out in the fucking world, I'm making porn and I'm enjoying myself. That's all I'm gonna do, and that's all I give a shit about.
He is enjoying himself a lot.
That's all I care. Nothing else matters. You want to villainize me because I'm a white guy or because of my politics? All right.
And most of that is just as simple as a click away. You
Fuck
know,
yeah, dude.
you click off the internet, and wow, I'm not a villain anymore.
Yeah.
Because I know they're not talking about me, and if they are, then I don't care enough about them to give a shit about their opinion.
Maybe it's better if they are talking about you, because at least they're talking. At least your name's out there.
If they are talking
Depending on
about
what
you,
you're
you
doing.
have power over them. So
Yeah, that's true. And if they're talking about you, they're not talking about themselves, and that's to me is a sign of weakness. To to be obsessing over you and what are you doing and what's he doing? He's doing this and look at this. I can't believe he's doing this and look what he's doing. He's doing this now. Get a life, as Dr. LeVay put it.
Very true.
Yeah. Okay, so back to villains, right? The show's about villains?
That's kind of what we're discussing.
All right. Awesome. I made a list of the strangest villain, and there's only one guy on it. There's only one character on it. I can't think of anybody else. If you guys can think of anybody else, let me know. Who I have on here is the fucking cigarette smoking guy from the X-Files. What is that?
Is he even really a villain?
Yeah.
Technically, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I would say so. I've watched X-Files. Yeah, he's a villainy.
That's kind of like a gray area, I think. I'm kind of with Dorian on that.
yeah.
A
I think
gray
because he's
area?
I mean,
He
now,
kind of shows up at certain times. He doesn't really. I don't know. He just.
now, granted, I'm not as well versed in that series as others, but I always saw that character because you weren't quite sure who he was
Yeah.
working for.
Ambiguous.
It was very, I don't think we knew enough about him to determine if he was a villain.
Obviously, I mean, his name was the cigarette smoking man. We don't know shit about him
Yeah.
other than he smokes.
I think that's pretty villainy.
It is.
All right, I got some more.
Anyone stroking a cat. That's kind of
Dr.
villainy.
Claw.
Dr. Evil, yeah, sure.
Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Dr. Evil.
I think
Who
it
throws
goes
a
back to
cupcake,
James Bond,
honestly?
but
I've got a list. I'm going to go down my list so I can stop looking at this sheet I wrote down. Big Bad Wolf. Come on now. Right?
There you go.
Why was he a villain?
Classic
guys?
villain.
Yeah. Why? Why was he considered a villain?
He blew things.
He just...
He ate pork. He was
All about
unclean.
timing, right?
He wiped with his right hand. Yeah. Okay.
oh yeah, he was.
He just
being
wanted
a
to
wolf.
eat. I just thought he was just hungry. What's that?
Yeah.
You couldn't blame him.
He was doing what a wolf does.
Bacon
So
is
wolf-
delicious. Not a bad guy.
So if
Which,
you,
and maybe that's the lesson here is that when
Bacon is
nature
delicious.
follows its own course, that's not. It's just nature following its own course.
so if you were
Wolves
born
eat.
to do what you naturally were born to do, you're a villain? It's crazy. Crazy. Yeah. Scar from Lion King. Why was he a villain?
Well, he kind of killed his brother. That was kind of a dick move.
That's pretty villainy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's really any getting around that.
I'm taking him off the list.
What about Skeletor? I mean, if you had a face of a skeleton and a high-pitched voice,
You'd be Michael
evil, too.
Jackson.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. TV villains. I got the Governor from Walking Dead and Negan, who's the new villain.
Well, the Governor is a great example. I mean, the Governor didn't see himself as evil at all. He thought he was doing what was best to help people out.
Yeah, in the name of Christ. Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't see Negan as a villain.
Negan's like a wolf. That's his
Negan,
nature.
Negan is just the equivalent of Rick in that fucking group.
Yeah.
They're doing the same shit. You're in a zombie apocalypse. You're gonna have
Except
to do
for the
something
whole
good.
ironing people's faces part. It's a little extreme.
Well,
but
that's
No, it's
sometimes
it's
you gotta
needed.
make a point.
Yeah, you got to make a point. I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand what you and again, I don't think he sees himself obviously, and his all the people that are following him, they don't see him as evil.
And
They
now
think
see
that
this now sort of gets into this sort of phenomenon of the not necessarily a villain, but an anti-hero, where we understand as rational humans that these people have to do what they have to do to get through the situation that they're in.
Sure.
It's not necessarily something that's good or moral or decent, but when
It's
you're
my,
pushed to your limit, it's the human body and the human spirit will engage in some pretty dark shit to survive.
My
Walter White in
all-time
Breaking
favorite
Bad is
character.
the first one that came up in my mind with that. Breaking
What?
Bad.
Breaking
Ah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
See, my absolute favorite character is an anti-hero, and that's Snake Plissken,
Yeah.
Escape from New York. He's kind of a villain, but he'll help a chick out if he can, but
Also,
if it's
Punisher.
convenient.
You know,
The Punisher is a
Yeah.
great one. Yeah.
Punisher's an anti-hero.
Yep.
Yeah.
My favorite
Vigilante.
villain is sort of fits into this whole mode, and I'm definitely more of a villain than an anti-hero. Buddy Ackerman from the movie Swimming with Sharks. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Been a while.
A quintessential, in my opinion, satanic character.
Mm.
In the sense that manipulative, able to get what he wants, and in the face of being put to death, manages to turn a situation around through nothing but his own wit. But invariably a cocksucking piece of shit who treats people like garbage.
Yeah. One of my favorite. I guess he's a villain. He's an anti-hero. He's a hero. I mean, depending on how you look at it and who you are. Willy Wonka. From Gene Wilder's character.
Oh yeah.
Purely satanic in every sense of the word.
But is he a villain?
To some.
I mean, just
To
the
some
dentists.
To some. Yeah.
The dentist.
But
No, not that one. Gene Wilder.
That's what I meant. To dentists. He makes candy, right? Gene Wilder makes candy.
no one
right?
saw the Johnny Depp movie.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay. Ouch.
And they came of
That's-
their own volition too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came on their own volition.
Bring it back a little.
He gave them a choice. He told them not to do it. He said stop and come back. He said don't go in the river. They did it themselves. And then he was like,
Yeah.
then called them to get you dejuiced.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he helped them.
Another villain that simply let people make a choice was Jigsaw.
I don't know, man. That's on that mentally ill type
Live
of
or
list.
die.
Yeah.
Choice.
Live or die. Make your choice.
Come on, just cut it off. All right. Yeah. Who else I got on here? You guys remember Siler from Heroes, played by Zachary Quinto? Remember the show Heroes? Save the Cheerleader?
Didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it.
Oh, darn. Forget that one. I'll edit that out. No. How about Annie Wilkes, played by Kathy Bates from Misery?
Yeah.
Or does that belong on the sick bitch list?
That is definitely on the psycho end of things.
Yeah.
But
Still a villain.
Yeah.
Still
Still very much a villain.
He never got out of the cockadoodie car. Who else I got? Norman Bates. That's a given. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have a Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster. Those were all considered villains.
Yeah.
How about this one? Hans Gruber from Die Hard.
Hans Gruber, one of my favorite villains. Again,
Yes.
slick talking Eastern European terrorist, bank robber.
Eastern European is really scary.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
You don't want to fuck with Eastern Europeans ever.
Yeah.
That's why Hostel is there.
Yeah.
Scary place.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I've got The Wicked Witch of the West, of course. That's a given. Terminator.
hmm
I mean, he was a hero in the other ones because, computing has changed.
and even then, I mean, you could argue that he's not a villain any more than your computer is a villain.
Yeah,
Ah.
he's just simply
He's a machine.
fulfilling his programming.
Yeah.
It's not it.
So it'd be the
I always
person who
interpret-
programmed him would be the villain.
Yeah, exactly. The person who programmed I always interpreted the notion of a villain as someone who is engaging in nefarious or evil activity knowingly to perpetrate something either against society or, in the view of most society, to profit for themselves.
What about Jason Voorhees?
Yeah.
Jason
That might be on the
Voorhees
sick
is-
bitch list. I don't know.
He's almost a force of nature.
I would almost venture to say that Jason was just simply seeking vengeance.
True.
Over and over and
And
over.
just over again.
Yep. Part
Same
13.
Same with Freddy Krueger.
And he's kind of but there's the difference would be though, like Jason's got his hatchet. He just is just doing what he's got to do. He just goes to kill. It's like he doesn't know any different. Whereas Freddy is like, he's fucked up. He's thinking of some sick ways to kill you or to torment you a little bit. Like, Jason's not coming up with one-liners before he kills you, Whereas
Well, I mean,
Freddy's a little
just
more.
just because you have fun with your work doesn't mean it's not just work.
That's true. You gotta enjoy your work, right?
The Nightmare on Elm Street
know.
movies did such a
I
great
think
job.
Freddy's got an axe to grind. He's got a bunch of parents around, burned them alive in a boiler room.
some
I think
knives
he's
to
got a
grind.
beef.
Yeah, seeking revenge.
They did such a good job on the Nightmare on Elm Street, really
Franchise?
bringing a nightmare to life, a child's nightmare to life. Like when you're running in your sleep and your foot's sinking in the ground, kind of thing, or your waterbed swallows you. That was what made it real for me
Yeah.
as a
Loved
kid
it.
watching that. Scared the shit out of me.
The third Nightmare on Elm Street film was the first horror film I ever saw, and it scared the.
Was that
living
Dream Warriors?
Dream
Played by
Yes.
Dawson? Nice.
Yes. Don't want to dream no more.
Nice.
tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight you'll be gone.
He knows
Oh,
every
no,
word.
you
wait.
Listen to him.
Lonely
Oh,
nights.
boy.
I hear
I'm
Heather.
alone. Anyway, I've got who do I got? Max Cady in the movie
Oh,
Cape
yeah.
Fear by Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Max Cady, very much.
Yeah.
There's a villain. There you have. Although again, villain or vengeance seeker.
You're gonna step
Right.
on stuff.
Yeah, what was that?
Again, just seeking vengeance against the alleged defense attorney who tanked his case.
Yeah.
Say what you will about the law. Laws are in place for a reason, and according to that story, there was a loophole through which he could have gotten off, and his defense attorney did not exploit it.
Nice. That's a nice way to. I'm going to segue into this next point. I don't know the character's name, but Gerard Butler in Law Abiding Citizen. Is he a villain? Was he a villain?
Not familiar.
Vigilante.
A vigilante?
Vigilante.
You didn't see that? You didn't see Law Abiding Citizen?
No.
Watch it tonight.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good.
A
Good
lot to
flick.
watch tonight.
I wanted, yeah.
Not enough hours in the evening, John.
I wanted
But
to.
watch
he,
all
he's
of
kind of
these.
he's kind of like the Punisher,
17
though.
more
I
movies.
mean, he's kind of righting a wrong.
Yeah, he's for vengeance. I guess a lot of vengeance seekers can be. Here's one.
We
Mr.
see a lot of movies too where it's competing interests, like two competing entities.
No.
Yeah.
Then you have to pick one.
No.
You mean like John Travolta and that guy in Face Off, Nicolas Cage? What do you mean?
Exactly. Sure.
Okay, that's exactly what I was
I guess.
No. Who else do I got? I got Mr. Smith from The Matrix. Come on.
Yeah, but again, he's a program.
He's just doing what he's programmed to do.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean,
Well,
he does
no.
kind of talk about like how he.
Yeah.
Like the
I thought he
MCP in Tron.
I thought he was an
Doesn't he
equal anomaly on the other end of the spectrum from Neo.
Isn't Mr. Smith eventually breaking his programming, and that's why he does what he does?
I think it was an anomaly like
Yeah.
Neo, right?
Yeah. A
Very true.
virus, if you will.
Which is what he refers to
You are the
humans
virus,
as.
Mr. Anderson. Yeah. And finally, I've got fucking. I don't know what the angel's name was, but the movie is called The Prophecy, played by Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Villain?
In that story, absolutely, yeah. I'd say he's a.
well, I would venture if now not being terribly familiar with the story of that angel from the Bible, I would venture to say that Christians might disagree if he was in fact
Oh, of course, yeah.
right. Yeah.
But that's what I was saying in that story. It's Gabriel, right? He's.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel.
yeah, it's
Gabriel,
starting-
you're right.
So in that story, he's basically going to war with humans. So I mean, as humans, yeah, I think most of us collectively would agree that he would be a villain. Which again, that's kind of what defines a villain.
Well, was he
is
not
the majority?
was he not trying to claim this? If I'm remembering the film correctly, was he not trying to claim that soul to bring back to heaven, to God, as part of this war? That was his intended mission, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had to get the soul of that freaky guy or something.
Yeah, and he was
trying to get
doing that,
muscle.
and he was trying to do that. And I forget, was he trying to do that on God's behalf, or was he trying to?
No, he was not
No.
doing it on God's
No,
behalf.
he was the
Okay.
war in heaven. He wanted to get his military and strategic mind. And
Yeah.
Ah, okay. But again, then I guess if he's fighting that war, he's looking to. Is there any villainy in war?
No.
Obviously, we assign that. Both sides, assign villainy to the opposing side. I mean, we would see the VC as the enemies of the Vietnam War, whereas I'm sure they thought, why the fuck are these round eyes doing in our country? So
Quite low, yeah. Crazy.
So I mean that's what I the conclusion seems to be it's going to take a majority to say this is a villain.
Yeah, but ultimately I suppose it is. I mean, villainy, when you put it in that context, villainy is subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think
one of my favorite non-human villains is Christine
McGuire.
Carr.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
The other red.
Sorry.
The other red. Yeah.
Another red
Carr in the movie.
Nice.
Yeah. Carr was a villain.
Yeah. And then in the car, the movie The Car.
Yeah.
That was the devil in the car. Yeah, I love that movie. But I mean, the villain has always been what I think, and maybe, or most people would think, is the antagonist in a movie or a show or something like that. Is that a true statement, you think?
I would say most people would consider the antagonist, whomever is engaging against the hero or the subject of the piece is going to be considered the villain, pretty much regardless of their moral motivations within the construct of whatever universe the story is taking place in. Mm-hmm. You can look at any. The Mist is a great example. That religious lady in the film The Mist.
Yeah.
Not the Netflix series, but the movie.
Yeah.
I forget who played her, but fantastic. Obviously a good Christian woman, but is eventually, throughout this weird apocalyptic thing that's going on, is encouraging people to froth into like this weird death cult where they start sacrificing people to the Mist. So, dude, despite having
one religion fails.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
My dog is trying to get back on camera.
Hey, Black.
I have a short list of I call them devil themed, where these characters, these villains called like Cruella de Vil, Edgar Balthazar, Balthazar from the Aristocrats, Horned King from the Black Cauldron, Maleficent, a horned and winged villain type of thing. You guys think of any other ones that might fit that list? All right, next list.
Talk about ones that you just mean like
there
the
was
general
the sheriff.
Yeah, were they
in Saints Cheerleaders? He was BL Bub.
Oh, BL Bub. Okay, yeah. Louis Cypher again with Robert De Niro from.
Yep.
So anything like devil name.
John, you should watch that movie tonight. Satan's Cheerleaders.
You got it.
That sounds good. I mean, the title alone has got me intrigued.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Satan's Cheerleaders. How about Satan's Little Helper? Did you guys see that one? That's a good one. I'm gonna watch Trick or Treat tonight. Not the one with the fucking pumpkin head fucking mask. The one with Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne.
Well, it's gonna rock you after midnight.
Yeah, man, I love that.
Ragman.
Chosen Warriors.
Matt, who are some of your favorite villains?
Yeah.
I really like Darth Maul, even though we never see him much. And he's not in one of the greatest movies, but he is the thing in that movie. And they kill him off kind of unceremoniously. It's like, But he looks great. And he has very few lines, but his lines are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the villain, He doesn't get all the screen time. So
Yeah.
And especially in the Star Wars universe, you don't have to do much. In fact, sometimes a smaller part that you have, like Boba Fett, is the more iconic you can become as a character. So maybe that's just leaving more to the imagination. But certainly, I mean, he didn't have to say much to show. He showed that he was badass enough. He didn't have to say a lot.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, you guys mentioned Batman earlier, being the hero, and sometimes a villain, of course. But he's had multiple villains. There was Ra's al Ghul and
Egghead.
Bane and the Joker and yeah. So I mean,
Egghead.
Egghead.
Great.
Christ.
The
Martian
Pharaoh.
Queen of Diamonds.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
What was the point you were getting at?
I don't remember.
No.
That was so 10 minutes ago.
Obviously, Joker is one of those ones that he's a very classic villain, but he's definitely more on that psychotic break kind of side of things.
Who's your favorite Joker? Who
Jack
played
Nicholson.
your Nicholson?
Oh,
Romero's
fuck yeah.
Caesar Romero.
Mm.
He was the first one that had just that crazy, that awesome laugh.
Yeah. And he had the mustache. Remember, he wouldn't shave it
Yeah,
off. It was on the
that's
makeup.
right. Yep.
I think Heath
It-
Ledger
it-
is my favorite Joker.
Heath Ledger
I
is
like
great.
King
at what he
Diamond.
did.
It hurts me not to say Nicholson, but yeah, I got to say Heath Ledger.
He just, I heard that he was on set and stayed in the character, just really
Yeah.
fucking with people during the craft table, Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, they say that that Heath Ledger kind of went through a period of depression from sinking himself so much into that character, supposedly. That he spent so much time diving into it, he kind of, I don't know, maybe had trouble getting back out. I don't know. It wasn't not too long after that part that he died, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was shooting a movie with Terry Gilliam from Python fame, and I wish I could remember the name of the movie because I from what I understand, when he
Satan's
died, halfway through
Cheerleaders.
filming-
It was Satan's
Yes,
Cheerleaders.
that was it. Directed by Terry Gilliam. Why can't I'm blanking on all these movies tonight. On a night that we're talking about movies.
Use your brain and your
What's
mind.
that? I have one of those? What are you talking about? Anyway, so the way the general plot of the movie is this character, the Heath Ledger character, goes through a mirror to some other world, and when they reshot this film, they shot other actors playing that part as he walked through the mirror to complete the movie.
Huh.
Nice.
I don't
Well, that was a
felt like an interesting little fun fact to share.
I love the walking through a mirror thing too. Dorian, just say your point first. I'm going to bring that up after.
I was just saying that they actually did something similar. I think more with computer graphics for finishing The Crow after Brandon Lee was shot, which is an interesting character. He's not a villain, obviously, but he's just kind of more that whole vengeance side of things.
Yeah, I was going to say that I dig the walking through the mirror thing. It happened in Darkness, the Legend. He walked through the mirror. What other movie was that? Prince of Darkness. Alice Cooper was in it. Where at the end the devil came out through the
A very underrated John Carpenter film.
Yeah, I loved it.
I only saw it for the first time recently, and I was like, how has this movie never come across my path before?
I don't think I've seen that.
Fantastic movie. Oh, it's
You should.
fantastic.
They spent no money on Alice
Dorian,
Cooper.
you watch that tonight.
He looks exactly like he does in real life. They didn't spend any money on it. He just looks just like that. Awesome.
I cannot find Satan's Cheerleaders on Netflix. I was looking forward to it, but it's on
No, that's an
Amazon.
eBay thing, dude.
$16.99 Amazon. I just ordered it.
All right.
Fantastic. There's also a Terror Transmission episode on it. You can go look for it.
Excellent. I will.
Nice.
There you go.
So out of this group of 5, who's the villain? There's got to be a villain here.
Here's the story.
I'm like,
I think we've all put on our villain hat at one time or another, at least.
Yeah.
Cousin
Some more
Oliver
than
was
others.
probably a villain on the Brady Bunch.
I agree.
Nice.
That little
Kill the
blonde
shit.
bastard.
little blonde bastard. Are you?
I thought it was the voodoo necklace, little tiki necklace.
He survived that. Cousin Oliver, not so much.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I've met-
certainly. I think certainly we've all taken turns, and some more than others, and it's gonna come with the territory, and like Magister Harris has just said, you just gotta blow it off. You just gotta shut your computer off every now and then, and just go, it doesn't mean anything, we're
Get a
going to
life.
take turns being the villain, even sometimes amongst our own. We've already made it clear we don't all have to like each other, and we're not. It's just not natural to everyone to always get along. We can't all get along, so we're all going to be the villain at some point or another for something stupid, usually. But
Before the internet, we weren't ever meant to know as much as we know about each other now.
right.
There is a literal information overload going on, and I think what is eventually going to happen, and like I alluded to it earlier, where we're starting to see these little groups start to infight and eat their own. Eventually, you're going to realize that 100% of the people on the planet have said or done some fucked up shit. That's it. Eventually, that statistic boils all the way up to 100%. Every single person in the world has something in their background that they are not proud of, and that would
That
be,
hotel room in '86 in Reno.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
and that
Oh my
and
God.
that would be viewed by the rest of general society as something that is fucked up.
Yeah.
At some point, once we all come to that realization, we're all going to have to realize that we just have to fucking get past it, and that you're never going to have a perfect person. Everyone at some point is going to be guilty of some kind of villainy.
It'd be fucking boring otherwise, right?
Those are the ones I hang around with.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you do hang around with.
That's what I just said.
We're
Yeah.
all together right now.
Those are the fun ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man. The dredges of society.
Proudly wear that moniker.
Awesome. Anything else, guys? I mean, holy shit.
Shine your bad guy badge.
Bad guy. You said bad guy vag.
Badge. Hey, I got a badge on the mind.
Chicks do dig the bad guys.
Chicks
Just saying.
do dig bad guy badges.
Yes, they do.
Nice.
All right.
Any last minute words on villainy? Anyone? Speak now or further.
Here's a villainous plug. When Nadia and the Therapist finally comes out, please buy it.
That's right.
Should hopefully be out before the end of the month.
What's it about? Does it have a plot? Is that
It's
Heather?
Yes, that's Heather
Speaking of
Lyons.
villains, hello Heather.
They say hello. It's about a young girl named Nadia who goes to a therapist for some interesting
Wait, speak
sexual
slower.
issues that she has.
Slower. What? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. You got your pants off? Little jergens?
Jergens.
Yes, I'm making an old-timey lotion reference.
Nice. So where can we find that, David?
Nowhere yet. It'll be up in the. You'll find it all over my social media the moment it comes out. I'm just waiting on something from the folks that fronted me the money to make it, and then it'll be out. Please buy it because it's awesome. And if I make my money
Where would
back,
you suggest people when it is available? Where should people go to get it?
They'll be able to go to davescustommedia.com, where they'll find a link directly to a description of it and a button that says "Buy Now."
Nice.
And the moment I make the money back, I get to make another movie. So buy it.
Is it a little pink button, if you know what I mean?
Oh,
Hoyo!
that's right. You gotta diddle that "Buy Now" button.
You have to you can't click it. You gotta flick it. You gotta
That's a
flick
great
it.
idea. That's a great idea right there.
You trace the alphabet on the "Buy Now" button.
Wait, what if you?
Yeah,
what
it
if
works
you,
every time.
What if you made it a donation thing, and every time you
60% of
run
the
the
time,
mouse over
it
it,
works
it's
out.
$1?
Absolutely. Answer. Anyway, we'll work on that button.
Yeah.
Matt, anything you got going on? Anything you want people to go see? Now's the time to mention it.
Villainous.
Still doing the accusation party. Still doing strange moments in cultural history.
Love it.
Both of those can be found at accusationnetwork.com. And I'm working on a new podcast, which I can't talk too much about, but
you can tell us the name
some
of
of
it,
the
right?
present company might be involved.
Woodworking with Matt Paradise.
That's sure.
Cheese sculpting with Matt Paradise. Nice. What's the name of it?
I can't tell you.
I tried everyone. I tried.
You did. We've been here before too.
It was a, it was a valiant effort.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, what do you got going on? All right. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
Same old. Just some art,
Nice.
working on cars and having a good time and going to the gym and drinking beer and living life.
Working off. Hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
That amazing Ironbird.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been working on
Yeah.
a new bass. Yeah, I built an Ironbird.
Pretty wicked,
Do you
man.
play like this, or do you play like this?
Gotta play it low.
You gotta play low. All right.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I hope you play nice songs. You play nice songs.
I do.
Nice
God,
songs.
Jace.
Actually, I built that bass out of my grandma's kitchen table.
Nice.
That's not creepy at all. Does it have are you putting a doily on it too?
No.
You shellac a
Just your arms
doily
the
on it?
pictures.
A little dish of ribbon candy.
It was still a table
After
before
dinner
when you
mints.
marked out where the
Yeah.
pickups were going, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was perfect wood though. It was over 100 years old. It's maple. I'm like,
Your
Down.
grandmother? Or no, the wood. The wood. Okay.
wood.
Nice. Dorian, what do you got going on?
Dude, I got so much shit going on you wouldn't believe.
Name
I
three.
got way too many projects happening. I may have, I don't even want to say this again myself. I may have a really huge, big
Penis?
paying gig doing paintings for a restaurant. That's all I'm going to say
Wow.
right now. 'Cause
Nice.
I'm not positive.
brother.
But
Put
Um,
secret satanic symbols in it where they can't really tell, but
Mhm.
we know they're there.
you never know. I'm working on a couple
don't
of
do
book
that.
ideas. I'm putting together a little. I got a lot of shit happening. I got a lot of stuff. I can't tell you because nothing's ready.
Okay.
It'll be ready soon.
And,
Isn't
I'm
it
on
the
here every
worst?
week.
You just want to fucking say something and you can't.
I know Matt's
the
trying. He
worst.
wants to tell us about the new podcast, but just can't.
I can't wait.
Let it out.
Sparks.
I'm on
yeah.
here every week, so
We won't.
I'll-
We
I'll
won't
let
tell
you know.
anybody.
Right. Just between us.
Exactly.
I'll stop recording if you want to tell us. Hold on a minute. Where are we?
We're about ready to say goodbye, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We are. Listen, everybody. Thank you for joining us. For
Wait,
about
John, what are you
villains.
doing?
What
What are you up to?
I bought a screen printing department, all the equipment, and I'm working on new shirts and designs, and it's fucking tougher than I thought, man. I was like, oh, this is easy, I could do this, and when I started doing it, I'm like, fuck, I really gotta get this down. It's like an art, and
Yep.
I just kicked out 30 t-shirts in the past 3 days, so
Nice.
I've got it. I think I've got it. I tend to pick up things pretty quickly, so. And that's the thing. I'm going to offer custom shirts. If people want something done, boom, I can
You
do
learned
it.
hand jobs fast. You're really good at it.
Yeah, see, the perfect example. That's what I'm saying. It's just
Especially with the
perfect.
gun in
Wait,
your
what? Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
What?
I know. I hate when he uses the metal because it's really cold.
Sure.
Anyway, and new jewelry coming. I'm not going to even say what it is, but
See, none of us are telling anything we're doing.
yeah. Oh, and another thing, I
Vague,
know,
just
right?
vague, but am I? Yeah, I'm the only one that fucking came out and named my project and said it's most likely going to be done.
You've got a button. That's the thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you
have
gotta-
a button, people.
Yeah.
See?
I think David, you're offering 20% off if you actually can click the button on the screen.
Yes, actually. If you,
Scratch and sniff.
Nice scratch and sniff. Smells like
actually, if you
Team
go
Spirit.
to the here's another cheap plug. Go to the Heidi Nights store right now at HeidiNights.com. Buy Heidi Nights Spanx, straps, canes, and paddles. A lazy worker.
Yeah.
And then email me your receipt, and then you can pick out 3 other movies from the store. I'll send them to you free.
all right. I know
The
it
title
sucks, but you
rolls
gotta
off the
tell.
tongue too.
Yeah, it rolls on the tongue too. You have to you have to tell everybody how to spell Heidi Nights because they're gonna be like,
Right.
yeah.
HeideNYTES.
Okay, awesome.
So there's 7 E's in that.
Yes, there's
That was my
25
second guess.
E's. Yeah.
That was my second guess. All right, let's get out of here. We got shit to do. I got some whiskey to drink. Till next time, everyone. Hail Satan.
They'll say.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.